Did you say Nikon Z6 Mark III? Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, and today we're talking about these new specs that leaked for the Nikon Z6 Mark III. And we're all waiting. I'm just curious to see it. I don't really need that, but I'm curious to see what the new product will be, because after the success of the Nikon Z9, of the Nikon Z8, of the Nikon ZF, well, it seems that Nikon is back on track after years of absence where they suffered the hegemony from Sony. They're finally back in the game, and they're creating one after another beautiful products that all the consumers seem to enjoy. And so we're all waiting this Nikon Z6 Mark III. Why? Because it was in the making. We were discussing it for a couple of years already. And so all the Z6 and Z7 users are really looking forward to the new specs and to the new AF tracking, stab, so on and so forth. And among all the things that leaked from China, don't ask me why they leaked from China, because Nikon is definitely not a Chinese company, but apparently the leaks come from there. Couple things that impressed me. The very first one is the Dual Expeed 7 processor, because if the Nikon Z9 and the Nikon Z8 have only one Expeed 7 processor, and it's not even saturated because it still have plenty of space for improvement, for calculations, for tracking, for AF, for auto white balancing, and for stab, and they still have plenty of possibilities which they are implementing month after month with the software updates, such as the pre-shooting release, the movement trap that you might use for wildlife, and many other things that are big possibilities for Nikon. I was wondering why this Z6 Mark III should have two processors. Well, the very first answer that I gave myself is that something might be lost in translation, because since these leaks come from China, maybe someone made an assumption, maybe someone made a mistake in translation, and so this is why they are thinking about it will have a dual processor like the Z6 II had. They had two Expeed 6, and so this might be one of the reasons why. But the second reason that I thought of is that this might be the very hybrid camera that Nikon was missing. So let's say that these two 24.5 megapixel sensor will not be stocked because it's an entry-level camera, the price point is so low, and so it's comparable to the Nikon ZF, and it's having already the Expeed 7 and a better grip and the stab, so on and so forth. So why a dual processor? Going through the leak specs, I saw also another important point, that is ventilation. So I'm assuming here it will have an internal vent similar to the one that we saw in the Panasonic S5 Mark II and Mark II-X. So basically, once you have a hybrid shooting camera for videos and you have this ventilation flow going through the camera and cooling it down, you basically don't have anymore a recording cap limit, meaning that you can keep recording 4K, in this case also maybe 6K, with no time limit at all. So this camera is supposedly having a 4K 120p with no recording limit, which is a great thing. But the other thing that means is that this camera will be finally competing with other brands. So finally, apparently Nikon, they understood that the future of the content creation is also video, because there are plenty of video makers out there. There are plenty of photographers still. Then you have plenty of choices if you are a sport photographer, a wildlife photographer, a wedding photographer, whatever kind of photographer, you have plenty of choices to be happy with Nikon. But if you were a video maker, well, let's say that Canon, they have this C70, which is a very valid camera, and Panasonic is the best stab in the business, so the S5 Mark II and Mark II-X are very valid cameras. And then Sony, I'm sure they might be working on a 7A, 3, 4S, whatever they would call it, which is the successor of the current very valid one, which is the 3S. And Nikon was missing one, so this might be it. And so everybody that was thinking about having a major megapixel count, such as 33, which is the leap that Sony took. 33, maybe you might have a higher megapixel count in the Z7 Mark III, if that will be ever announced. But this Z6, it looks like it will be more positioned towards video makers. So I would be very, very, very curious to try it out, because, you know, I was thinking about this Panasonic S5 Mark II X for a while right now for my video needs, especially paired with the 70-300 OIS, having the stay both in the body and in the glass, meaning you won't need a gimbal anymore to record your videos. But this Nikon Z6 Mark III, for Nikon freaks like I am, because I'm a Nikon fanboy and a Leica fanboy, and the Motorola as well. Now I'm using this very cheap and small Motorola sensor to record this episode. Guys, I'm having so much fun, you can't imagine. So with that, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it on your social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any videos to come, and I guess I will see you later with new leaks. Bye.